So it's been 2 years since the Tornado V3 is released. In that time, a lot of people have been building up a lot of hype and expectation. So today we're going to be looking at the Tornado V4. And so we're finally going to see what the factory did to update the V3 to the V4. This is the box. It's got a really cool color. I don't even know what this is. It's like some sort of greenish blue, and it says V4 here, Tornado V4. So we have the business card with the same sort of visuals. And then it says Jim Zhang is a famous speedcube designer and the founder of the X-Men design speedcube brand. Cool. We have the same birthday too, so I say happy birthday to him. He says happy birthday to me. It's pretty cool. All right, so this is the cube and the box of accessories. This box kind of looks like a GAN box. Just kidding. All right, here we go. So just a note, this is the flagship version. There are other versions, namely one with an edge with more magnets. So we'll show you that in a future video. We were just really excited to unbox this one cube. And let's take a look at what accessories we have. We have a screwdriver, blank cap, thanks very much. That's awesome. We have a bag, always like these bags. These bags are great. And then we have a stack of papers and a cleaning cloth. So a very healthy mix of accessories. Really liking this blank cap. I feel like more companies should just do this because it's just more accepting of other uses of the cube, like people doing blind, Ro Hessler making angstrom cubes, etc. So yeah, we need this. Awesome. Okay, so this is the TV4. It looks like a TV3. The design sort of motifs are very similar. It has primary internals. So let's do some turns. Yeah, so how do we describe this? So this feels like a Tornado V3, but the pieces touch in a more predictable way and it's more compact. So sometimes if you have a Tornado V3 on like lighter settings, you feel like the piece, there's like space for it to move inside the cube and it doesn't feel connected. This cube feels like the pieces are all very connected and working together in a predictable way. But it is a little blockier than the TV3. So I actually have a TV3 here. This is a YoCube Deluxe, fantastic cube. And I have my old TV2. So this is the cube that I use to set my PR average. So the TV2 is very blocky. Like the reverse cutting is kind of a challenge. The forward cutting is great, but this is what most people complained about. The TV3 feels like there's a lot more space and the reverse cutting is very good. Here, I would say it's kind of in the middle. Like the reverse cutting works, but it's not as flexible as the TV3. So I'll give you a visual for this because we're all interested in the visuals. All right, you go over here. So we have this like kind of like the spectrum here, blocky, and then we have flexible. And then I would say the TV2 is not the blockiest cube, but I would say it's like around here. And then the TV3 is probably like around here. And so we're trying to figure out like the TV4, is this closer to this or this? I think the settings play a big role, but it's probably like in this range. So it's in between the TV2 and the TV3 in terms of flex, and personally, I really like that. I think that the TV3 on some settings is a little bit too loose and not like compact enough. People, if you watched NAC finals, people got some corner twists on the TV3. I think the TV3 was one of the more frequent offenders of the corner twists. This one seems more put together, but not at the expense of the freedom of movement like the TV2. The TV2, I think a lot of people were bothered by the lack of reverse cutting. So this is my visual to just show you how the cube feels in between the V2 and the V3. I think this is a really sensible midpoint for the cube to be at. All right, let's bust out the scale, see what we got here. The TV2, 76, and this is the one with like all the accessories on the inside to make the bone core. So it's going to be heavier. 76. The TV3 is 73. This feels like it's like 70 or something. 72. Okay, so they're all about the same. I feel like one very common thing people will say about this cube is that it feels too similar to the TV3. I've seen comments where people are like, yeah, this feels like a Tornado version 3.5 instead of a version 4 because it's, you know, too close. But I think at the same time, while it doesn't excite you with like the TV4 newness, it is a very functional, very excellent cube. It moves well. I can see tons of people who are sponsored by QiYi going from the V3 to the V4 and getting really good times. This is a competitive speed cube in 2024. Let's open it and just check out what the features are. Oh, it's pretty much the same thing. Cool. Let's open this one up here. This handle is designed much better. Like, I was able to grab it and pull it out without too much effort. This is the TV3. It's a lot smaller and it's a lot more difficult to consistently, you know, grab it and pull. So on the TV4 here, the outer number is the tension and the inner number that's encircled by the plastic is the elasticity or the spring compression. So right now we are at tension 2 and elasticity 3. So this is a very middle of the road sort of setting. 5 is the strongest setting. So if you went 5.5, you'd be at the tightest and the most compressed. And I really like how the middle setting is really workable and comfortable because that means that people with outside preferences to the middle setting can venture one way or another and enjoy a good combination of tension and elasticity. So one thing they changed from the V3 to the V4 was how efficiently you can adjust the magnets. So on the V3, I'll just show you, you adjust them on the edge. So if I wanted to make it stronger, I'd go on the edge and it would not change the magnet setting on the other side of the edge. So you would have to go through many actions in order to adjust the magnets. On the V4, the magnet adjustment got put in the corner. And if you make this adjustment, say I'm in the middle right now and I wanted to make it one stronger, there's a click which tells you that something's being changed, which is really nice. And now the same adjustment has been applied to all parts of this one corner, which is really cool and much more efficient. The quality of life updates of this cube are really nice. Bigger, easier to use adjustment system. It's still the same as the previous one, so you don't have to learn a new system. Magnet adjustment became easier, and so I think on the whole, yeah, this was a very good update. So another topic that people often ask about tornadoes is how durable is this cube? Is this cube gonna break on me? Tornado V3s, over the years, we've seen a lot of things in our customer service department. A lot of magnets collapse into the piece and then you can't fish out the components, so you have to get a new piece. The corner magnets get loose, center magnets, all the magnets get loose, and the core breaks. I think those are the most common customer service topics that we address on this cube. Over here, my understanding is the magnets are glued, and so I think it has at least a slightly less of a chance of dislodging. Maybe because the magnets in the corners are now interconnected, there's more support structure around the magnet so it won't collapse. I guess we'll find out if there are any durability problems with this cube, but customer service is always ready to help if you experience any issues with this cube. So the TV4 is admittedly not the most exciting cube. You're not gonna open the box and be like, bam, this is a new cube and it's 100% different from, you know, the long history of tornadoes starting from the V2. But this cube is solid and the quality of life improvements make it better. As I was mentioning in that spectrum, it's not the most flexible, but it's also not the most blocky. So it's in between the V2 and the V3. I don't think it's so blocky that people will complain about it like the V2, but it's also not so flexible that you can accidentally corner twist on most settings. I think this is a really solid update to the Tornado line, and people looking for this type of tornado-like texture, which I think has been preserved in this cube, are going to really enjoy it because it's predictable and it's pleasurable to turn, and it has all the makings of a very solid competitive speed cube. We don't know exactly what the price is of this cube, but I think it's going to be slightly higher than the Tornado V3, but at the same time, the TV3 I think was a very reasonable price given that it had adjustable elasticity, tension, and magnets. And so I don't expect this to break the bank. So if you're a TV3 user and you want a cube that was made this year and is more updated with extra quality of life features and a little more compact feeling, I think this is the cube that might solve your problems and might make you really happy, because that is exactly what it is. This is not some crazy new design that maybe people were asking about or expecting, but this is a Tornado. This is the version 4. We're really happy that it's being released and that it's consistent, but also better. So we know that there are going to be more versions of this cube coming out, so we'll hit you with another video once we get those cubes. We're just very excited to show you what this cube is like. So hopefully this video was useful to you, and we'll see you soon.